MSM still acts like ADL is the king of the Jews. I mean, it's just the Pope, as Sam Cedar would say, the Jewish Pope. Here he is to ordain all critics of Israel as anti-Semites 22 months into a genocide that Israel has been engaging with. Hard to
it's a
defend
major
Israel, dude. ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt on rising protests. The one-sidedness of this is just astonishing. Wait, is that in Israel or in America?
Strike in Israel yesterday, bringing the country to a halt. Protesters marching against the government in support of a deal with Hamas that would free remaining hostages.
Please tell me Jonathan Greenblatt is going to say these guys are anti-Semitic. He won't say that. That's a bridge too far. But that would be really funny if he was like, these guys are so one-sided. They just don't understand. They don't understand that Netanyahu's ambitions in Gaza contain multitudes. Okay? That there's so many different good reasons to permanently militarily occupy Gaza. It's really up how these Israeli Jews waving the Israeli flag, mind you, again, which is a red flag to begin with, are protesting against the Israeli government and behaving in the direction of Hamas.
Which is held for almost 2 years. On Saturday, New York City saw its largest protest against Israel action against Hamas in Gaza in months. And new and returning college students now arriving on campuses across the nation as all of this is happening. Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO and national director of ADL, sending a letter urging universities to better address anti-Semitism. I want to welcome you to the show this morning, but boy, is this a unique and complicated moment, given these protests, given this sort of issue about the way the government of Israel is acting or behaving and some of the tragedies taking place in Gaza right now, and the confluence of anti-Semitism. How do you think about that right now?
Look, I think the complicated is the right word for it. I think all of us on all sides sort of bemoan the tragedy in Gaza, right? It is painful to see these pictures of people, clamoring for aid and in such desperate need. And at the same time, it is painful to see protesters here in this country putting all the blame on the Jewish state for a war that Hamas started. So, and there's anxiety to go back.
My question to you, as a Jew, where do you believe anti-Semitism starts and stops? And the reason I ask, in the context of, are the folks that are protesting what Israel is doing right now, do you think that they are unto themselves anti-Semitic? Is that protest?
Do I think someone who works directly with the Israeli government to do propaganda and work to actively deplatform and destroy all American critics of Israel in the United States of America should be tried at the new Nuremberg? There is never going to be a new Nuremberg, but the people that were tried in the old Nuremberg were not just like journalists, but they were journalists that worked directly with the Nazi government. It's not going to happen, but yes. I love the news asking Greenblatt for some objective line where you cross it, and that is anti-Semitism, Lamau preposterous on his face. Yeah, it's crazy because it's a layup every time. It's a layup every time, and he still stood up every single time. I don't even know how. They'll be like these guys agree with Jonathan Greenblatt. He went on the New York Times interview and they were like, what's the line between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism? And he was like, it's all anti-Semitism. And even the New York Times was like, that sounds a little crazy. You know what I mean? Your job is to just be the number one communicator that all critics of Israel are anti-Semites. You should be able to figure out a better way to do this. Honestly. It is shocking how bad he is at this job.
Anti-Semitic.
Look, I've got to say, it's a fair question and kind of an amazing.
It's a fair question, but it's all anti-Semitic. Sorry, Mr. Squawk of Squawk's Box. MSM still acts like ADL is the king of the Jews. I mean, it's just the Pope, as Sam Cedar would say, the Jewish Pope. Here he is to ordain all critics of Israel as anti-Semites. 22 months into a genocide that Israel has been engaging with. Why are you skipping over the fact that these Tel Aviv protests have nothing to do with Palestinian emancipation or rights? It's just Israelis not wanting to die in Gaza and wanting their POWs back. One, I'm not. I often explain that incredibly important part of this conversation. And two, not only is that correct, but also, even if that is correct, anything that gums up the works is still good. Okay? That's just my attitude at this point. It's one born out of desperation. Make no mistake. Like, I see people, for example, that retweet Israelis who are conscientious objectors, who like literally are going to prison for not serving in the Israeli occupying force, and some dumb like American is quote retweeting them being like, this is the bare minimum. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. That's crazy. You've done nothing. You've sacrificed nothing in your life. Okay? That should unconditionally be celebrated. Okay? That should conditionally be celebrated. No reason ever to shit on a person that's doing that. That should be celebrated. That should be praised. That should be defended. Like, that's it. That's it. You got to do positive reinforcement. These people are doing, like, their sacrifices are obviously nothing in comparison to the average Palestinian, but you're not an average Palestinian. You're not a Palestinian child born in Gaza. Okay. You're not, half the time, you're not even a Palestinian diaspora. Okay. You're just a guy. You're a guy that is disconnected from this incident. You're a guy that's disconnected from this genocide, and it's understandably made you incredibly emotional. I get that. You're on the right side of history, but don't attack people who are doing the most with the like within the limited confines of whatever they can do. Okay? Especially when it like moves the needle in the appropriate direction. That I try to explain to people. It's like, don't cast aside allies. Okay? Always remember what the broader societal attitude is, and try to move as many people as you can to your position. And the best possible way to do that is by being open-minded, by being charitable, by trying to actively promote people like that, for example. Okay? Wait, why shit on the protesters? Oh, no, people were saying that these protests are just for like, it's not for Palestinian emancipation. It's not even like a straightforward anti-genocide protest. It's just like people that don't want to go serve. And also people that want the hostages to be released because like there's still their family members and friends that are like prisoners of war in Gaza. And I am diaspora Palestinian for your information, so I got skin in the game. No, I don't. I understand that. I know. I get that. I'm saying that many people who do say that shit are not. But even then, it still doesn't matter. I will say this to a diaspora Palestinian. I say this to a Palestinian that has escaped Gaza. Okay, because this is a conversation about methods. This is a conversation about appropriate anger being directed in the place that is productive. That's crazy, brother. No, that's the crazy law. No, dude, this is entirely different. This is not a conversation about morality, dude. What the are you guys talking about? This is a conversation that revolves around pragmatism. It doesn't matter. I understand where people are coming from, but ultimately you need positive reinforcement, and it's a good thing. It's not a lip take. None of you are doing anything. Shut up. People get so goddamn annoying about this shit. Shut the up. Shut the up. Oh my God, everyone that goes, that's crazy. No, if someone is a refusenik, you should absolutely support them. You should praise them. They are doing a good thing. They're refusing to serve. They're saying it's a genocidal army. They are anti-Zionists. Okay? Shut up. You need to expand the permission structure. And ultimately, you're picking away, one by one. Maybe it's like a handful of people, 30 people or whatever. But like you're picking away at people who would otherwise go and serve in the genocidal Israeli army and continue the occupation. It's a good thing. Every obstruction, even if it's not immediately for Palestinian emancipation, is because this gums up the works for the Israeli state. Okay? Do I wish that these guys were actually straight up anti-genocide protesters that were like, "You Benjamin Netanyahu, Zionism, Israel, blah blah blah." Absolutely, okay. I wish they had the same level of smoke for their government as I do for mine. As someone who protests every goddamn day of the fucking week, okay? As someone who does advocacy every goddamn day of the week, someone who attends protests frequently, I have a lot of smoke for the American government. I want the American government to change its ways. I wish broader subsects of Israeli society had that same level of anger and resentment for their own government, okay? I do. I wish that was the case, okay? Having said that, even if they don't have that same level of smoke, this still gums up the works. This is still a hurdle that they have to overcome, okay? And the same goes for people who protested the Nazi regime, the people who like refused to serve in the Nazi military. It's a good thing. It's objectively a good thing overall, okay? You feel me?
Amazing one. Because I know I've said, and many people have said over and over and over again, protesting Israel isn't anti-Semitic. The hundreds of...
shut up. Yes, you do. You do say that. You can't say that right now because the videos on the screen are Jews in Israel protesting against the Israeli state. So it comes across as like a moronic statement. Bad take. No one ever explains why it's a bad take. This person will just double down and say, it's actually libbed up. I am getting sicker and sicker and more tired of some of the most snarky, annoying assholes in this goddamn community. It's really shitty, especially because like it's rendered my position impossible because of my own personal radical framework. That it has made it already impossible for like the average lib to even entertain what I'm saying with like an ounce of charity. But in the same time frame, a lot of these assholes are desperate for even more purges. Anyone that's already in here who actually doesn't have, who is almost identical to your worldview, might have a different method of advocacy. And you just take that marginal difference and you turn it into the most consequential aspect of your politics, your reflection of politics. It is inherently reactionary. It's so annoying. You guys need to shut the fuck up, okay? Please, for the love of Christ. Holy, yeah, nobody wants to tackle mountains. They just want to die on molehills, okay? God damn.
Thousands of people in Tel Aviv and Haifa and Jerusalem, they're not anti-Semitic. But if the only country...
Yeah, he's saying, yeah. You're only not anti-Semitic protesting the state of Israel if you're Jewish and in Israel. Thanks, Jonathan. Great point. No one else gets to protest Israel. Only Jews in Israel. Not even the Palestinian citizens of Israel. Only the Jews, okay? Also, they need to cut it out with this interfaith marriage nonsense. I am a civil rights advocacy organizing... I'm the leader of a civil rights advocacy organization. Hello, I'm Jonathan Greenblatt. I am anti-miscegenation.
That you think has any responsibility for the situation is Israel? If you parade signs around that claim Israel is a Nazi state, if you make wild claims that, like Bella Hadid's father, Muhammad Hadid, did over the weekend, that he wants to destroy the state of Israel, that crosses a line. I mean, literally, I just can't understand, Andrew.
Yeah. This always has some celebrity's name that he can drop.
I care about children in Gaza, too.
It's got to be such a... you don't. Yeah, you care about killing them.
But why was there not a single sign yesterday or over the weekend saying they care about Israeli children? Why isn't there a single person at these protests saying, Qatar, lean on Hamas?
What do you mean Israeli children, bro? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like... Is there an imminent threat to the Israeli children beyond the Israeli state itself? Like, what are we talking about? How do people not realize he's just all lives mattering a genocide? That's what he's doing. Okay? That's it. That's what he's doing. What do you mean Israeli children? Like what? Like what are you talking about?
The one-sidedness of this is just astonishing, and it makes people like me, people who care deeply about all human beings, wonder, is there something else going on when you only blame one side?
Here's the thing that I worry about.
Yeah.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah.
Why is Israel the only one being blamed? 100%.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it seems to be the reality of the way the world seems to look at this. And maybe that unto itself is anti-Semitic. I don't know. But my question to you is how you feel about some of the actions of Israel right now, and whether you think that whatever is happening here from just a very practical perspective is almost creating a new sense of anti-Semitism and almost growing that feeling among others. That's what scares me.
Well, look, I'll tell you what. I think
even if you 100% agree with what Israel is doing, in some ways, it may have this counter effect that I'm now increasingly worried about.
Look, Hamas staging a war while hiding behind civilians, Hamas holding hostages, which is their only point of leverage, creates almost an impossible riddle for Israel to solve.
But then the question is, what's the right answer?
So the question is, why is it that Jewish people in this country get blamed for...
I can't even listen to it, man. I can't even listen to it. I can't. He just always repeats the same nonsense over and over and over again. Yeah, if you want to protect the children of Israel, stop letting the pedophiles into the country because it has a non-extradition treaty like Tom Alexandrovich, okay? Jesus Christ. These are the people we want to give grace to? Wait, what? This is why leftists don't give Israelis any grace? What the fuck are you talking about? Did you just say that, the average person that comes on my stream or, the average person I'm talking about, like a refusenik, is Jonathan Greenblatt? Are you out of your mind? Stop monolithizing people, okay? Jesus Christ. You're treating Jonathan Greenblatt like a refusenik anti-Zionist. What the... Dude, where did everybody's brains go? God damn, dude. It got lost in the sauce. People have lost the goddamn plot, dude. They're so... Yeah, no wonder people like Tucker Carlson. All you dumb need is just one person to say the words and then you're good. Twitter, they went on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels, God, I hate to say it, but it's just it does truly feel like a silly endeavor. No matter what I do. On the one hand, I can't even bring kind-hearted liberals who are broaching the subject matter at all onto this cause so they can become more radicalized, because every outlet is up my goddamn asshole. Every independent content creator is up my asshole, and my own community is internally trying to consistently make this a smaller and smaller place. Some of you need to just quiet down and shut the up. Okay, go busy yourself with something else. I just want someone on these networks to cut off these freaks and scream how insane they sound, talking about Israeli safety when tens of thousands are dying. They will never do that because the people on the other side are also in tune with that worldview. Noah Smith, leftists use Palestine primarily as a wedge issue to try to win internal factional battles in the Democratic Party. They don't actually think they have much chance of affecting events in Palestine. Leftists have been organizing especially on campus, about Palestine for decades, when the pro-Palestinian position was totally irrelevant to anything going on in the Democratic Party. It has become significant in the Democratic Party only lately because of Israel's recent actions. These takes don't seem to be intention. Leftists have been trying to build factional power rather than constructively influence events for decades. You hate your community? Not the entirety of it, but lately the vibe shift has been tremendous, tremendously unproductive to the grand design that I have. Of course, I don't hate the entire community. It's the one thing that that and spite keeps me going. Because 95% of the disagreements that stem out of chat is not even a position that I hold. It's just what you misunderstood and you got incredibly passionate over. And now you've made it a primary disagreement that is irredeemable. And it's I didn't even say the thing that you think I said. You just misunderstood what I said, and it's my problem now. You know what I mean? It's just purity politics in the worst possible way, you know? Yeah. It is. It's also the external forces, obviously, mostly. The elevated death threats, kicked up to a much higher degree. The level of vitriol and fixation they operate with goes far beyond critique. It's obsessive, violent, disturbingly normalized. The constant stalking, lies, and coordinated harassment should alarm anyone who cares about their online safety. They're constantly brigading anyone and everyone that I collaborate with and bring that toxicity over to other people. Everybody in this industry knows who the villains are. They just don't want to say anything because they don't want to get a fraction of that smoke. They see what I have to deal with behind closed doors. They openly talk about how insane it is, and they can't say anything about it because who am I to be like, yo, put your, speak out on it. Speak out on it. Why not fight fire with fire? What do you want me to do? I'm a leftist, okay? We don't get the same level of breathing room to just operate with the same level of toxicity, okay? I don't even make death threats, and I abhor them. I think it's ridiculous. Even if I joke about something, they will present it as though I'm sincerely advocating for the death of a sitting senator, okay? Or if I talk about like international law within the context of like an illegal raid in the West Bank, people turn around and treat it as though it's like a sincere death threat or some shit when it's very clearly not. I very clearly stated that it's limited to the confines of like a military operation that's taking place. And then on top of that, they turn around and issue actual death threats, actual brigading, openly stating like every advertiser on the Twitch platform needs to hear this. They need to go and brigade the mass blast every advertiser because they can't do it. They can't do it to me directly because I don't have any advertisers. I have very limited advertisers, and they obviously don't give a shit. So it's entirely bad faith. You don't have that. I don't have that same capacity to do so. Especially because it gets in the way. Like even this meta commentary about like being visibly left, being visibly progressive on the internet, and how much that opens you up to the floodgates of hatred is unironically deviating the attention away from the shit that I want to talk about, The villains are not in your chat who doesn't agree with every single thing you say, so why are your mods heading the bans? It's because you're annoying. Yeah, you get timed out one time and you just make it your life's mission. I don't know where the Ukraine stuff is going to go, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere productive. But what do I know? I'm confused by the overall positive vibes that came from the Ukrainian side and the European side as well. But I don't know. What is this? We're agreeing, I think. Leftists don't really care about the issues they talk about, whether it's Palestine or anything else. The whole goal is to build factional power over the long term. What the? Yeah, dude, leftists don't care about the issue of Palestine. They're just using the issue of Palestine to build power within one of the two parties so they can put an end to Israel's violence, which is somehow not caring about the issue of Palestine. This is a psychology thing. He needs to justify the fact he doesn't care about the genocide, so he has to say to himself, well, nobody actually cares anyway. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there's no reason at any given point to actually care about whatever the Matt Iglesias has to say, honestly. Yeah, also, Catherine Clark, the second most powerful Democrat in the House of Representatives behind Hakeem Jeffries, just admitted that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. New, days after saying we have to take action to stop the starvation and genocide and destruction of Gaza, top Democrat Catherine Clark backtracks, says she wants to be clear, I'm not accusing Israel of genocide. Yeah, she should have followed that up with saying, I'm not accusing Israel of genocide. I'm saying Israel's doing a genocide and everyone can see it. It's not an accusation. Why do they behave like this? I don't understand. Where is the pressure coming from? Like, it doesn't make sense. Just say the truth. Ugh. This will not age well. I don't even know how things will age. I'm just not going to be there to see it at this point. I'm going to perish one of these days. It just feels like I'm going insane every single day that I see this shit. This may be true of many of the subsection of leftists, but it feels insulting to say none of them, including the many Muslim and Arab activists, don't actually care about Palestine. Absolutely. Among Arabs and Muslims, of course, it's not a left issue, but a right-wing nationalist one, and they have incredibly sincere commitment to it, though unfortunately less so to the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people and as individuals. I can't say what I think about Matt Iglesias, and I feel like he's just writing this shit so he can piss people off. I'm just not even going to say nothing. I'm not going to say anything. All right, I'm done. It's too much.